and let us all do we can to build a better future.
This is a interesting conversation. It takes place between entrepreneur, rapper, Ice Cube with Tucker Carlson. So this is an interview that I found very eye-opening, and I would like to play it for all of you people because recently, of course, Tucker Carlson has a little back and forth with Fox News because they're upset that he's doing his own show. And then number two, Ice Cube himself has been vilified by the establishment and establishment media for, well, calling out the Democratic Party, corporate media for its lies, for its abuse of power, and so much more. And of course, the liberal gatekeepers. So let's play this video for all of you to enjoy. I will keep my pausing to a minimum, but I'd like to add in my commentary as well. But let's check this out.
As part of our ongoing, never-ending quest to find the few people in this country who are still willing to say what they actually think out loud, we wound up in Los Angeles recently with the rapper Ice Cube driving through his old neighborhood. Didn't expect that to happen. Here's how it went.
Dr. Dre came by this house. I'm gonna show you. We're gonna ride by. He used to live down the street from me. His cousin moved on our block when I was 12. He was 11, and his name is Sir Jinx. He became one of my producers when I went solo. Sir Jinx. He moved on the block, and then Dr. Dre was his cousin. So Dre came by a couple of times. It was cool, you know, to be able to see somebody who was actually making records.
Yeah.
We were still amateurs. Okay, not at this street, but the next one, make a left.
You want to get out there? Or you
And we're not getting out because I don't want my pops to be like, what the fuck are you doing? All these people coming by my house. You didn't tell me.
Oh, your dad still lives there?
Yeah, my pop still lives here.
How long has your family been there?
Man, since 1962.
These boys, they all grew up on this block, okay? That's my son. That's my son.
Famously, it's one of the tougher neighborhoods in the city.
So where are we?
Right now, we're on Manchester.
Hold on, we're going to fast forward because there's a little bit of some copyright music here. So we're going to move forward here.
The more you listen to.
So you've never fallen for a politician?
I can't say that. You know, I've had hope and, you know, dreams that, you know, this guy is going to be the guy.
What'd you think of Obama when he got elected?
You know, for the first time, I felt proud that America took that step.
Yep.
I didn't think they would ever do that. And so that was a moment in time. But then, you know, you look around, years go by, and, you know, not much change for people I know, people I care about.
We've had 6 major race riots on the president's watch. Race relations have plummeted to lows not seen since a Rodney King.
In Chicago, a toddler is now the latest victim of the city's deadly surge in gun violence.
But it didn't change with Bush. It didn't change with Clinton. It didn't change with other Bush or Reagan, or Carter. It's so, you know, at the end of the day, it's still the same results.
So you're describing a symbolic victory?
Yes, in a lot of ways, yes.
I'm glad I was able to at least get to that point, the symbolic victory. That's what the Democrats seem to be relying on too these days. Nothing but symbolism. An empty bowl, a pretty bowl, but it's empty. There's nothing in there to sustain you. I think we all know how we felt when Obama first got elected. Hell, when even AOC got elected or the other members of the squad, there was jubilation, hope. The idea that things are going to get better, but as time goes on, you realize that nothing did fundamentally change, and then things began to get progressively worse. All these false promises of hope, change, social justice, preserving dignity, the Democrats never followed through on. Now, of course, the Republican Party is just as guilty as the Democratic Party, but this is how the party and systems work. No matter who sits in the White House or who controls the Senate or the U.S. House of Representatives, both parties only care for their own objectives and needs. They just only use voters to legitimize their power. So let's fast forward just a little bit more to here.
Silver has done his best to strangle the black-owned Big Three in its crib. When people think basketball, they think Silver, don't you think? Adam Silver, he kind of embodies the spirit of basketball.
Yeah, you know.
Was he what team did he play on during his career?
I think he played on the New York Lawyers.
He's starting forward on the New York Lawyers.
Yeah. You know, I mean, he rode the bench. Come on, man. Rode the pine. Water boy.
You can see why Ice Cube is considered one of the least obedient entertainers in L.A.
It's a trip. I used to walk these streets and
Well, that's
get all
you.
the stars
You
and
on the
stuff.
bus.
Yeah. That's what's a trip.
Should we
See
get
all
out and
these
say hi to
stars.
them?
No. Nah. Unless they're going to give us a little money from the Hood Tour Life Tours. You know what I mean? Break us off 20%, man.
The world's most dangerous group.
Yes.
So I noticed this about every year or two. I read some story about you, and the subtext is always the same, which is, you know, stay in your lane.
I wouldn't be here if I stayed in my lane. I just never wanted to have that life. You know, I never wanted to be controlled.
How many times have you been pulled aside by people who are trying to control you?
What they usually do is go talk to people that's in, you know, my circle.
Yeah.
And try to get them to try to convince them that they need to convince me that I need to take a different position. So that's kind of how I get it.
On what topics?
You know, it's been on, you know, the vaccine.
The Hollywood Reporter says actor Ice Cube is saying no to a $9 million payday because he won't say yes to the COVID vaccine. The actor and rapper was set to co-star in a new comedy, Oh Hell No, alongside Jack Black. But when producers requested all cast members get a COVID vaccine, Ice Cube backed out.
Why wouldn't you take the vax? You had a direct order to take it. You were told to take it.
Yeah, I'm not real good with direct orders, but on a whole nother note,
but it was a command.
I didn't.
I mean, I'm sorry, they told you. I mean, they couldn't have been clearer about it.
Yeah, it was pretty clear. Did you take it?
Of course not.
Yeah, no, it wasn't ready. You know, it was 6 month, you know, kind of rush job, and I didn't feel safe.
But they told you you were safe.
I know what they said. I know what they said, and I heard them. I heard them loud and clear. But it's not their decision. There's no repercussions if they're wrong. But I get all the repercussions if they're wrong.
Was it a tough call for you?
No, it wasn't a tough call. You know, I wanted to be an example for my kids. You know, really make sure they didn't take it either. Show them that I wanted to stand on my convictions and that I was willing, you know, to lose $9 million and more, because we've probably lost more, you know, since then.
So I think it's important to take away from this is that, look, after 2020, the abuse of power, those who have the keys to everything, want to keep people subservient. Now, I know many of us were concerned and panicked in 2020. None of us were certain of how the future will play out. But with the ending of that year and how the actions of our government, our media, our institutions have been carrying themselves, the evidence is clear. We don't have a place in it, nor say in how things are dictated over us. And we do have to push back. And one of the reasons why I wanted to play this interview of Tucker Carlson with Ice Cube is because the media wants to turn anyone that doesn't fall into line into the villain, the bad guy, the tyrant, the bully. It's okay to question institutions. It's okay to challenge the powers that be. It's okay to speak out, because if you don't speak out, if you don't say anything, you are giving your silent, obedient consent. And unfortunately, Americans have been doing this for decades. We haven't pushed back against the establishment. Yes, there have been protests. Yes, there's been, examples of people, maybe speaking out, but the fire then fizzles away. It disappears. It's no longer sustainable. We can't let that happen again. We have to reignite who we are as citizens in order to reclaim what was stolen from us: our voice, our ability to think critically. Now, there are a lot of issues impacting us as citizens. Home ownership is becoming a dream. Small businesses, again, are unable to have a strong and stable future. We have no Medicare for all. We have no student debt forgiveness. Our infrastructure is crumbling apart, and our corporate media is consistently lying to us or giving us half truths so that we can just accept it as is and continue to live our lives in this neoliberal nightmare where Americans are working 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet. It's important to speak out. It's important to be critical. And it's important to find your voice. That was an outstanding interview by Tucker Carlson with Ice Cube. And again, we should not let anyone rule over us. Our voice and our ability to think critically is what makes us who we are. And I hope that eventually more Americans wake up to realize that they do have a voice and that they need to stand up.